it's Helen from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest video. Today I'm going to be setting up my journal zine for November, and I'm also going to share a quick flip through with you of the pages that I've completed for October. And as always, I just love looking at all of these little zines from every month. And of course, there's only another 2 to go now until we've got a full set for the year. And if you watched last month's video, you might remember that I put the wrong month on the front. And I continue to have problems with this little zine, and I'll show you why in just a moment. So these were the pages I completed last time during the video. So my index cards that I bound together in a journal. I'd released a new art journaling class on Skillshare. And then I'd also shared a bit about the walk that we went on along the river. So I've added and completed my other 3 pages. This one went fine. So on here I've got a little photo of our dog Barney, and I've just written about the fact that we always know it's getting colder when he just hides under his blankets for most of the day. So that was me, I just peeled it back a little bit in him looking out. And now on the next 2 pages you're going to see the problem I had. There we go. Now, I did think about covering them up and starting again, but then I figured it doesn't really matter. The information is there. It actually makes me laugh, so I've just left them exactly as is. So on here, I'd printed off a photo. I've made a note of one Sunday we had a power cut. Really, it was quite early in the morning and it lasted all day. We were preparing dinner, sort of trying to chop up veg by candlelight and things like that. So I've put in one of my little candle stickers from Patreon. But I have to say, that was a big hole that got dug up outside our road, and there were a few of these dotted along. They had to lay some new pipes and things under the road, but it was all on a Sunday, and whilst the power was out most of the day, they got it all sorted. So yeah, it was just one of those days. And then I just did a kind of reflection of the month and a little bit of a summary of the sorts of things that I'd been working on. So all of those stickers are from my printables, and the washi tapes are from London Gifties. And as always, I'll try and remember to leave everything linked down below. So yes, that's my finished October zine. For my November zine, I've already printed out some photos that I know I want to use. And somebody had asked if I could share a bit more. I did mention the photo printer that I used last time. So this is the Brother colour label printer, the VC500W. And one of the things I like is that you can change the tape sizes that you put in the back. So that's a 50mm, and that's the one that I tend to use for most of my photos. And it's all zinc technology, so there's no ink cartridges or anything like that. And I did do a demonstration of this some time ago because Brother sent it to me, so I worked on a collaboration with them. I've got a few other photo printers, but this is the one that I use all of the time. And you plug it in, so it's quite a big kind of unit, but it's just something that I find so handy for printing off the photos. And as I've mentioned before, I love the fact that it's already got that little break in it, so they're really easy to get off. So that's what I'm going to be using in my zine for November. So the first thing I'm going to do is start off by decorating the cover. And I've decided that this time I want to do some painting on it. So I'm going to just get some acrylic paints out and get ready. I'm going to be using 2 different acrylic paints, and these are from the Royal Talens Amsterdam range, and I'm going to be using Naples Yellow Deep and Raw Sienna. And to put them onto my cover, I'm going to use some makeup sponges. And I have already made the zine in advance, but I've kind of shown a little tutorial on how to make them in a few of the different videos, so I will try and remember to leave a link down below of the last time I did a tutorial in case you haven't had a go at making these yet. I just noticed I made this zine actually last night, so that was all prepared. And as seems to be happening with my zines at the moment, I must have somehow put it down in something wet. But I'm going to be covering it with paint anyway, so I'm sure it will be absolutely fine. So I'm just going to open it up so that I've got the cover flat in front of me. And I'm just going to dip into the paint with the makeup sponge. It's a really nice, quick way to apply quite thin layers so they dry nice and quickly. And I always get a couple of bags of these makeup sponges. If you clean them out quickly, you can get just about all of the paint out. So I tend to use these quite a lot, and a pack will last me a long time, as long as I remember to wash them quite quickly. So I just want to use these to get a nice, quick kind of base colour onto the cover. And I know some of this will probably go down a little bit along the edges onto some other pages, but I'm kind of okay with that. I try not to put too much pressure on with anything like this, because I think, you know, it's just supposed to be a fun way each month to perhaps get a bit creative and document those special moments. So I'm just doing this all over. I'm going to be adding other layers on top. So I just want to make sure I've got a good covering of this down first. I find it really relaxing just getting out little makeup sponges and tapping away with that paint. So I'm going to give that a quick dry off with my heat tool and then come back and add the next layer. I recently bought some new stamps, and these are the Dilutions by Diane Reevely, and they're called Around the Edge, and in the UK I got them from Art from the Heart, but I know that they're widely available, and I really like them for being able to add some interest when I'm kind of building up different layers on any art journaling or in my daily journal as well. So I think what I'm going to do, I want to make sure I'm going to have a little bit of space to write the date, hopefully the correct one this time up there. But other than that, I'm going to go all over the back, I think, and then leave a little gap here. And I really like this one. I'm not too worried about a precise print. I will leave the back just as it is, but I am going to add another layer on the front. So I think I'm just going to kind of add this probably most of the way across. And I really like the detailing on these stamps with kind of, they've almost got a newspaper look to the actual leaf shapes. So on this one, as I mentioned, I'm going to leave a little gap at the top. And add my final stamping there. And I really wanted to still go for some nice kind of autumnal colours, as I'm loving how everything's looking outside at the moment. And again, before I move on, I'm just going to make sure that's nice and dry. For this next stage, I'm only going to add it onto the front cover, and I'm going to use this Tim Holtz stencil. In fact, I think I might keep it flat for now. And again, I'm only going to add it up to the top of the leaves. And I'm going to be using the Studio Acrylics modelling paste and high density. And I just want to put a little bit of this through the stencil. And the only reason I'm not doing it on the back is because I know it's going to give kind of a bit of a bumpy surface to it, and just to make it easier to write on. So I'm going to try and make sure it doesn't go over there. I'm just going to start pushing this through the stencil. And I really like having then all those different layers, because you should still be able to see the different paint and also some of the stamping coming through too. I feel like I've been using modelling paste a lot recently. I just absolutely love the texture that it brings to kind of your journal pages. And I've been doing a lot of art journaling over on Patreon this month, so I've got all of my supplies kind of handy and at the front of my drawers at the moment, because I'm just really enjoying working with all these different things. Okay, so that's all of that done. I'm just carefully peeling the stencil away. I'm really happy with how that's looking. I'm going to dry it off, obviously. I'm just trying to decide whether I want to add any colour or just leave it as it is. So I'll probably have a bit of a think about that whilst I'm drying it off. I've decided that I do want to add some more colour to the front of this. So I'm going to use some of my Kuretake watercolour paints. And I'm going to, I thought it'd be nice just for a bit of contrast to have some of that kind of a deeper purple colour perhaps on the flowers. I really like the look of just white texture paste, but I just thought it'd just be fun to have a bit of contrast on here. So I'm just going to add this purple on top of the 3 flowers, and then add a bit of green to the leaves as well. And you have to be a bit careful with texture paste when you're drying it, because if you get it too hot it can cause it to bubble a little bit. So I try and hold my heat tool quite some way away from it. In fact, in an ideal world, usually actually if I'm working with texture paste on something, I would actually leave it to dry naturally overnight, just so you don't have to worry about any of the bubbling. But I have just checked it and it seems to be okay. It seems like it's dried enough. I've been having so much fun recently just playing around with different supplies, seeing how they work with each other, kind of exploring different things. And as I mentioned, because this month on Patreon we're focusing on art journaling and trying out different things there, once I've completed the challenge for this month, I will share a flip through of everything I've been creating at some point, probably early December. So I'm really liking how that contrast is now starting to look. And I think what I might do is use that same paint as well to add some splashes to the back of the journal zine as well. It just help to tie them in together, not that I'll probably look at the back very often. I'm just going to dry that quickly before I start adding the green to the leaves. Okay, so that's now all nice and dry. Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to be happy with the decision to add colour. I can never tell. And I was thinking, do I just go for something orangey to kind of fit in with the colours of nature at the moment? But I thought if I'm going to add colour, it would be quite nice for it to be something really strong and contrasting against that background. I'm just going really gently. I'm trying to make sure that nearly all of the paint is just on top of the texture paste. I'm not worried if a little bit of it does kind of drop back onto the background. I don't think it's really going to notice too much. As always, if you are creating these little journal zines, please do tag me in over on Instagram. I absolutely love seeing everybody's creations and how different they all are. It's just been a wonderful project. I feel it's kind of helped keep me on track this year. Obviously it's been another strange year in lots of ways, and this has been like a little constant for me throughout every month of the year. I've still created one of these, even if it's been a bit later in the month like it has been the last few months. I've still got them done. I've still got a little record at the end of the year of all of the kind of special things, important things that have happened, things that I'm focused on. So I think it's been good for me to have this as a little kind of outlet each month. It's always just feels so doable. It doesn't take very long to do. I'm still questioning what it is I'm going to do next year. I'm thinking possibly not a monthly project now. I'm not too sure. I've got lots of ideas going around in my head. Once I know what I'm doing, obviously I'll share them here on YouTube. I think because I'm doing kind of monthly creative projects on Patreon anyway, I think I'll have something to kind of still offer me that stability of something that I know I'm going to work on every single month. But I perhaps might do a different little project each month, trying out something new, so we shall see. Okay, I'm really happy actually now, I think, with how that's looking. I think I might just add a few of the little green splashes on the back as well. And again, give it a final dry off. Now that's, I think, pretty much all dry. I'm actually really happy with how that's looking. It's something a bit different from the other covers that I've done so far this year. And I feel even in itself, it's kind of representing one of the big things I'm focusing on this month with art journaling. I'm going to write November on it this time. I'm going to make sure I get it right. And for my lettering, I'm using a Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen with a firm nib. And I get just about all of my pens from Colt Pens. Okay, so that's my cover now done. As I mentioned, I thought there would be some of the paint would come through onto the pages underneath, but it only looks like it's on the edges or on a bit there. That's fine. Anything can be covered with washi tape and stickers. So I've got some new washi tapes handy that Christine sent to me from London Gifties. And these are the photos that I want to add. I think I'm going to start off with a nice strip of washi. I've just picked out some purples actually because I thought that would go, especially on the opening pages, tie in nicely with the cover. So I'm going to just add a strip, I think probably on both sides. This is what I did last night. I turned the zine around when I was finishing off my last zine, so that I could put washi tape on the edges, and then that's how I ended up creating it upside down. So I'm going to check in a moment, hopefully, before I start documenting. I'm just going to trim those corners off. Now both of these first two photos kind of go together with another big thing that I'm focusing on at the moment. So I'm going to kind of do this as a double page spread. So one of the things I'm really trying to focus on is my health and well-being. And I've set up a separate journal for it. And one of the most important pages for me that I've done at the beginning is a journey of self-love. So kind of how I want to treat myself, my body and my mind as I go through all of this and work on it. It's probably not a journal I'm going to share on YouTube. I don't know. It's really personal. I have been sharing it on Patreon because there's quite a few people that are wanting to focus on this. So I'm sharing kind of everything over there. Whether I'll share it more publicly, I haven't decided yet, but it's something that's really important to me. So I've taken a photo of that, one of those journal pages that means a lot to me. And then also I roasted loads of vegetables and then turned them into soups and sauces. So I just want to document a little bit about that. And I think I'm just going to add a couple of stickers before I get writing. Just notice my hand's already covered in paint and texture paste. But I always think that's a sign of a morning well spent. I think I might add that over there. And I really wanted those to be my opening pages, so it kind of sets the tone for the whole month really of what I'm trying to focus on in terms of healthy eating, exercise, but also taking plenty of time to relax and really look after myself. So I'm now just going to quickly add some journal writing about kind of how I'm getting on so far. So I've got those done, and I'm only going to now do one more page. As usual, I like to leave then at least 3 pages that I can fill out kind of right at the end of the month, or it'll probably be at some point in December. And one thing I find really handy is because in my bullet journal I have that kind of 1 line a day record where I make a quick note of things that I've been doing that day. It means that I can look back through there for anything that I want to document and get the date from it, so I can then have a scroll through my photos to see if I actually took any photos of those kind of things that have meant something to me throughout the month. So for this final page, I've just finished filming a Christmas card making workshop for Cult Pens. I think it will be going out on their YouTube channel quite soon. So I do various videos for Cult Pens using different products, and they sent me some really lovely metallic pens, so I filmed the process of making those 3 cards. It's kind of the first Christmassy thing that I've done this year, and it was quite nice because initially I think I felt a bit hesitant, thinking, oh, I'm just not ready to even think about Christmas yet, but actually I really enjoyed it. It definitely made me feel a little bit more festive-y. I think it's strange with probably not having my daughter at home, and she's getting that bit older. I guess probably when they're younger, you get more in the Christmassy mood earlier, I think. So yeah, I'm not exactly there yet, but that really helped me to just feel a little bit, start to get in the zone a little bit more. Trying to decide what Christmassy things I want to add. Whether just to go for a gold yay, or I might add, these were actually some of my printables from last year. I might just add some little berries down there, and again add a little bit more of my journal writing. So that's my little zine for November so far, and in December at some point I will definitely share my December zine with you, along with the other pages that I've completed throughout the course of the month. I really hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you're doing well. As always, a massive thank you to everybody who's joined me over on Patreon. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking with you really soon in my next video.